Congress cannot by statute strip this court of the power or relieve it of the responsibility to protect its files from misuse. What if the truth is being deliberately hidden? What secret does the Department of Justice want to keep buried? We're diving into millions of documents to find out. We will examine the Epstein files, Trump's involvement, and the controversial Department of Justice redactions. In November 2025, a rare bipartisan moment occurred. The U.S. House of Representatives overwhelmingly passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The vote was 427 to 1. The Senate quickly followed suit. President Donald Trump signed the legislation into law on November 19, 2025. He directed the Department of Justice to release all relevant documents related to Epstein and Maxwell. What followed has become a legal and political battle. The fight is over redactions, withheld files, and constitutional challenges. Are we getting the full story, or is something being concealed? The Epstein Files Transparency Act mandated the release of documents. It aimed to shed light on Epstein's criminal enterprise. The Department of Justice released hundreds of thousands of documents on December 19, 2025. But many were heavily redacted. Lawmakers and Epstein survivors immediately criticized the release. They felt it was incomplete and far from transparent. Another 30,000 pages appeared on December 23, 2025. These documents mentioned Trump flying on Epstein's private jet in the 1990s. The flight logs revealed some unsettling details. Trump was a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996. Ghislaine Maxwell was present on at least 4 of those flights, but the biggest release was yet to come. On January 30, 2026, the Department of Justice published over 3 million additional pages. This included more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. The total production reached nearly 3.5 million pages. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche declared this the final material release. That statement ignited further outcry. Was this truly everything? Or was something still hidden? The core controversy centers on allegations. The Department of Justice deliberately withheld crucial documents. Specifically, those documents pertain to Donald Trump. On February 27, 2026, the Justice Department announced a review. They would examine whether they wrongly withheld FBI files. These files contained allegations against Trump. These allegations related to summaries of FBI interviews from 2019. The interviews were with a woman who accused Trump of sexual assault decades ago. These summaries are reportedly missing from the publicly released documents. Internal FBI slideshows and email chains detail the woman's claims. She alleges sexual assault by Trump. Worried, she claims it happened after an introduction by Epstein when she was 13. The Department of Justice initially claimed any withheld material was either duplicative or privileged. This explanation has been met with intense skepticism. Senator Chuck Schumer didn't hold back. They're abusing redactions to hide the truth. We're going to reveal this massive cover-up. We'll pull on every thread. Was the Department of Justice trying to protect someone? Jess Michaels, an Epstein victim, voiced the frustration. All of us have been looking for our victim statements, only to find nothing in the Department of Justice release. The absence of these documents meant that this Department of Justice is actually gaslighting the entire country. There's another layer to this legal fight. Worried Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers are actively fighting the release of 90,000 more pages. They claim the Epstein Files Transparency Act is unconstitutional. Their argument focuses on the separation of powers doctrine. They say the act strips courts of their authority. They want to protect files from misuse. This legal challenge was filed on February 22, 2026. They seek to block the release of documents from a civil defamation lawsuit. Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein victim, brought that suit against Maxwell. Maxwell's legal team argues the Department of Justice improperly obtained these documents. They say it happened during its criminal investigation. These documents include transcripts of over 30 depositions. They also contain private financial and sexual information. Angry Maxwell's lawyers aren't pulling any punches. Congress cannot by statute strip this court of the power or relieve it of the responsibility to protect its files from misuse. To do so violates the separation of powers. Laura Menninger and Jeffrey Pagluka, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers. The controversy fuels public distrust in government transparency. Angry, it raises serious questions about the Department of Justice's integrity. Lawmakers have launched investigations. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee are demanding answers. They want immediate access to unredacted records. The allegations against Trump have reignited scrutiny. This focuses on his past association with Epstein. Trump has denied these allegations. The Department of Justice maintains they did not withhold information to protect anyone. However, they face increasing pressure. They must provide a full and unredacted account of the Epstein files. The debate over redactions is central. The Department of Justice claims redactions protect victims' identities. They also cite the need to protect child sexual abuse material. Critics argue the redactions shield powerful individuals. They obscure the full truth. Some victims' names were revealed, while alleged abusers' names were blacked out. The ongoing legal battles underscore the impact of the Epstein scandal. The public demands accountability and complete transparency. The narrative remains fluid. There is potential for further legal challenges. What other secrets are lurking in these documents? The public and lawmakers continue to scrutinize released and withheld files. Let's look closer at the timeline. We must understand how this all unfolded. This will reveal the deeper connections. December 29, 2021. Ghislaine Maxwell is convicted of sex trafficking. This conviction intensified the calls for transparency. The public wanted to know the full scope of the network. June 2024. Donald Trump states on Fox News that he would release the Epstein files. This statement added fuel to the fire. Would he truly support full transparency? November 18, 2025. The House passes the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The vote was an overwhelming 427-1. The Senate unanimously agreed to send the legislation to Trump. November 19, 2025. President Donald Trump signs the Epstein Files Transparency Act into law. This was a pivotal moment, but the fight for transparency was far from over. December 19, 2025. The Department of Justice releases hundreds of thousands of documents. Many were heavily redacted. This sparked immediate criticism. December 23, 2025. An additional 30,000 pages of documents are released. These included mentions of Trump flying on Epstein's plane in the 1990s. The connection between Trump and Epstein became more apparent. January 30, 2026. The Department of Justice releases over 3 million additional pages. This brought the total to nearly 3.5 million pages. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche declared this would be the last material release. February 22, 2026. Lawyers for Ghislaine Maxwell file papers in Manhattan federal court. They want to block the release of 90,000 pages of documents. They argue the Epstein Files Transparency Act is unconstitutional. February 27, 2026. The Justice Department states it is examining whether it wrongly withheld FBI files. These files contained allegations against President Donald Trump. The Department of Justice's actions are under intense scrutiny. Let's analyze the statistics. They offer insight into the scope of the investigation. We must understand the numbers to grasp the full picture. 3.5 million pages. The total number of documents released by the Department of Justice by January 30, 2026. That is an enormous amount of information. But is it the complete story? 2,000 videos and 180,000 images? These were included in the Department of Justice's January 30, 2026 release. What do these videos and images reveal? Have they all been properly examined? 427-1. The vote by which the House of Representatives passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. This shows the bipartisan support for transparency. Why then is there still so much controversy? 8 flights. The minimum number of times Donald Trump flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet between 1993 and 1996. Ghislaine Maxwell was present on at least 4 of those flights. What was the nature of these trips? 90,000 pages. The number of additional documents Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers are fighting to prevent from public release. What secrets do these documents hold? Why is Maxwell's legal team so determined to keep them hidden? Now, let's examine the flight logs more closely. They are revealing new details. Trump's connections to Epstein are becoming clearer. Donald Trump flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet at least 8 times. These flights occurred between 1993 and 1996. Ghislaine Maxwell was present on at least 4 of those occasions. What was discussed on these flights? Who else was on board? What role did Maxwell play in these trips? We must consider all perspectives. Let's examine the expert quotes. They provide crucial insights into the controversy. They're abusing redactions to hide the truth. We're going to reveal this massive cover-up. We'll pull on every thread. Senator Chuck Schumer. Schumer's words are a stark warning. All of us have been looking for our victim statements, only to find nothing in the Department of Justice release. Angry, the absence of these documents meant that this Department of Justice is actually gaslighting the entire country. Jess Michaels. Her frustration is palpable. Congress cannot, by statute, strip this court of the power or relieve it of the responsibility to protect its files from misuse. To do so violates the separation of powers. Laura Menninger and Jeffrey Pagliuca, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers. Nervous Maxwell's legal team is fighting hard to protect these documents. We have examined the timeline. We have analyzed the statistics. We have considered expert opinions. But many questions remain unanswered. What is the Department of Justice hiding? Are they protecting powerful individuals? What secrets are contained within the 90,000 pages Maxwell's lawyers want to keep sealed? What do the missing FBI files reveal about the allegations against Trump? The truth remains elusive. We have explored the depths of this complex saga, the Epstein Files, Trump's involvement, and the Department of Justice's actions. But the story is far from over. The legal battles will continue. The investigations will persist. New revelations may emerge. The question remains, what is the Department of Justice hiding, and why?